Okay, to begin this lesson, we're going to go ahead and, I've already started. I created a wall as well as a floor here. And we're working with some basic shapes, boxes. Now, in a little bit, we're going to do some odd shapes. We're going to have to go in and apply a modifier to tell Max how that material is to actually go onto the object. And that is called the UVW map modifier. But to begin, we're going to do a little bit on tiling. And I have two different materials here. One's like a block wall with ornamental. The other's like a decking. So I'm going to grab the decking. I'm going to pull it down here to the box. I'm also going to make it visible by hitting that icon. Now notice here, the picture itself, when I back up, is simply just 4 boards. But that's not very realistic for deck. It's actually going to be several boards across. So we're going to correct that in a moment, as well as any other issues you may have where the image is not repeating itself like you'd like it to be to scale. To do the same thing, I'm going to do it with the brick wall, the block wall here. Make that visible. Notice how it's stretching that wall out. That's definitely not, those blocks are only about, it's supposed to be like a foot squared, and they're gigantic. So we're going to fix them because we're working with standard objects. You can come down here into the material property of that bitmap and adjust under here tiling. Okay, so I say 5 and 5. Notice what we're doing here is we're telling it how many times in the X and Y we want it to go. So I'm going to say 2. Better yet, I'm going to go 4 and 10. And the higher the number, the smaller those blocks get. So you may have to adjust the number. Now, the problem with adjusting the tiling in this submenu is that it applies to this material. So no matter what else this material gets dragged to, it's going to inherit the same tiling properties. So for instance, here's a problem that you may run across. If I draw a second box here on the other wall, now when I drag that material over, notice here it tiles the same amount as it did on the left and right wall, but those walls are different sizes. So what's happening is that the tiling is messed up because of the sizes. Now, there's a different way to fix this, and that's using the UVW map modifier we'll look at in a moment. The second part here, we're going to go ahead and fix the flooring. Same thing, we can select the floor, come down into the actual properties. Now, if we're only using this material once, that's fine. But in the case of the block wall, since we have 2 different sides, this wall looks a little bit more stretched out than this one does. They don't look like the same block. So we're going to go ahead and do this down here. If I type in 5, notice what it's done is it's taken that image and it's put it 5 times crunched into that area. So to even make it better, I'm going to hit 10. So now it's starting to look like a floor decking that's actually to scale. The 5.5-inch boards that you can normally get for your wood deck. All right, so that's going to conclude this first part of tiling. And in our next lesson, we're going to come back in and apply a modifier, which will give us more control over how the tiling works.